Welcome to Chris Cook for YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing a request. Now I normally do not take requests out of order. I'll do things as people ask me, and I do have a long list. But because this is a winter item and we're moving into the summer months, I didn't want to wait and then do this when it gets really hot. So I'm going to go ahead and do this today. And this is something that we do really all the time, but I knew when this person asked for my help, they really didn't have a clue about this particular dish. I'm going to be doing turnips and mustard greens. Now, he asked for my help on the mustard greens, but normally I cook turnips and mustards the same way. So I'm going to, and I normally cook them together. So whether it be turnip greens by itself or mustard greens by itself, or if you do the turnips and the mustards mix, this is a good way to prepare it. So let's get started with the ingredients that you're going to need. Here are the mustard greens and here are the turnip greens. Now, normally when I was buying them long time ago, way back in the day, they were selling them whole, where you would have to clean them yourself. Now, we still have to clean them, even though they say that they're pre-washed, but we don't have to pick them. So I'm going to show you, I took out 2 long stems to try to just show you how to pick these greens, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now, I'm cooking these with smoked meats, and I don't care what it is that you cook with smoked meats. When it comes to southern dishes, smoked meats will change that taste for the better. That's right. Whatever you're cooking with smoked meat, if it's a southern dish, it's going to always taste better than if you're cooking it with just regular neck bones or regular turkey or whatever it is that may be just regular or not a cured meat. Now, I want to tell you something about how you can tell your cured meat. For one thing, it has a different color to it. It looks a pale or a darker looking brown. Now, I'm doing this with different types of smoked meat. I have some ham hocks here, some turkey wings, smoked neck bones, and I have some smoked turkey necks. And as you can see, the smoked turkey necks is a darker color, but all of it is smoked. Now, I want to tell you something about this meat. I want to tell you something about ham hocks. Here where I live, we don't have good ham hocks. I've had ham hocks that have so much meat on the ham hock till you was thinking you was throwing a whole cured ham over inside of your greens to cook it. We don't have that here. So I want to show you something. If you get a ham hock like this with a little bit of the ham portions on it, that's really good here. This is excellent. This is the way you want to get your ham hock. You want to have some ham, lean meat, that will be showing through. Normally you get a big bulk piece, but if you see something like this, that's good. What you don't want to do, if you can avoid it, you don't want to get one like this, because the only thing I have here is just skin and bone. That's nothing but bone, and this is only the skin and bone. So if you can avoid it, if you can't avoid it, it's still going to have some good flavor, but you're not going to have any meat on it. All you're going to have is just skin and bone. So if you can avoid this, you want to get the kind that would have some ham portions on it or some lean meat on it. Now, you cook greens a little bit differently than you do cook beans. With beans, you don't need to put salt in your beans until the very end. Why is that? Because it will split your beans, and you will get more split beans than you will whole beans. If you want that meal when you're cooking beans to be whole, leave that salt out until the very end. It'll make a major difference in the cooking process. Now, with greens, you don't have to do that. You put all of your seasonings in the pot. Go ahead and let your smoked meats pre-start, and then you put your regular greens over into the pot with your smoked meats. And normally you don't have to put anything else in there, because even if you don't know how to cook greens, I can tell you this, or any kind of southern dish, throw you a ham bone over in there or throw you some smoked meat in there, and that's going to help you out tremendously. Now, when you're cooking it, even though this is all you need, if you want to boost that flavor up a little bit, then go ahead and add these other ingredients. Here I have some apple cider vinegar, some minced garlic, onion, which I'm going to chop up. I have a jalapeno pepper down here, but you can use some crushed red pepper. A lot of people use crushed red pepper, and you don't have to use a lot where you got a lot of heat, but you want to use some just to spice it and kick it up a little bit. You have some sugar in case you get a bitter taste from your greens, and I do have salt sitting here, but you may or may not need that salt depending on your smoked meat. Normally you don't need salt. If you get to the very end and you taste it and you need some more salt, go ahead and put a little bit. But this will carry all the salt that you need. Now, I don't have any greens to show you how to actually do this because my greens came pre-cut already, so all of the stems are taken away. If you're a person that likes the stems, go ahead and cut them up and eat them. But normally I don't do the stems. Now, your greens, when it comes to your turnips and your mustards, they come a whole leaf. The leaf comes maybe about that long, okay, and it's a whole leaf. What you want to do is you want to take your green after you look on it and make sure there's no bugs crawling. And you have to remember, this is in the elements. This is out in the open air. Bugs will crawl on it. So what you do, once you put that salt hits your water when you're getting ready to wash it, your bugs will fall away. So that you don't have to worry about. And normally you wash your greens 3 times. That's what I do. Because you want to get all of the sand and anything else that may be on your greens, you want to get it off. So if this was a long stem, and you got to use your imagination here because I don't have the long stem, you would just take your greens and fold them in because there are leaves on both sides, and then you would just pick your green away from your stem. Now, if you want to use your stem, you can go ahead and use it. But that's the way you would do it if you're not using your stem. It's okay to get a little bit of the stems, but you just don't want a pot full of stems and no greens. Now, this is going to boil down tremendously. So you may start out with a full pot, then you're going to keep on adding and adding. Because today I'm going to be cooking 4 packages of greens, 2 of the mustards and 2 of the turnips, and then I'll freeze some for a later date, maybe next month or so. I'll take those out and I'll use them with my dinner. Now, remember, the stem is there. You got leaves on both sides. You just want to take it, fold it together, and take it off. If you want to just open and do it, you can do it open, but it's better to just fold it. It's quicker to fold it and take it off. The turnip greens and the mustard greens, they're the same way. These are your mustard greens, and you can tell your mustard greens because they have a little curly leaf on the outside. These are your mustard greens. These are your turnip greens. Your turnip greens, they just like a straight leaf. So if you want to take that, now here, because they've already come pre-cut, I don't need to take off that stem, but I'm only taking off the stem so that I can show you. Okay? And I'm taking it out. So that's what you would do with it. Now, I'm going to go away for a minute because it's one part of this that I left off and I want to get it, and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of this seasoning in here, and you might not have this where you live at, but this is smoked ham broth. Okay, and it is really good. If you have it at any of your markets, go ahead and buy it because it gives you tremendous flavor when it comes to your southern cooking, like your beans and your greens. It's called smoked ham broth, and it comes just like this, but it tastes exactly like smoked ham. That's the good about it, and I like it, so I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And what I left off was my turnip bottoms. I did get some turnip bottoms. Now, you may or may not get this when you get your turnip greens. Now, this will be on, it will be stuck to the end of your turnip greens at the bottom like a root, which is really, you know, what it actually is. Or you may find it like I did, right by the greens, you'll see some of them sitting up there. And I wanted to go ahead and cover greens today, so I just bought them. So you're going to cook these right when you cook your greens. It's just going to, it tastes like a, it tastes kind of like a little bit shorter than the taste of, like the taste of a rutabaga is like more, is stronger in flavor. This is strong but not as strong. So you can use these or you can not. You can omit them. It really doesn't make a difference. I just got them since I was covering greens. And all you do is you peel it. Once you peel it, then you slice it up. So you'll see when I get ready to add this to the pot, but I wanted to bring you back and show you this. So I'm going to go ahead, get my smoked meats. I'm going to boil this in one pot. The reason for that is because I like to pull all the meat off the bones. I don't like bones inside of my greens. So I'm going to boil this in one pot. I'm going to boil my greens in a different pot. But I'm going to take the liquids that come from this smoked meat and I'm going to pour that in the pot in order to make my greens. Now once I strip all the meat off of my bones from the smoked meats that I'm using, then I'm going to add it all together into the pot. Now with collards, you know, collards give you a more solid taste. With collards, I don't do that as much, but because the turnips and the mustard greens, because they come out a lot more flimsier than that, I like to at least taste meat all through my turnips and mustard. So I'm going to make sure that I have a pot of meat to go along with these greens, and all of it will be mixed in together, and you'll see it when we get to the end stages of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pot started, and I'll be right back. My variety of smoked meats is in the pot and they're boiling, and I'm getting ready to add my seasonings, but I want to show you about these turnips. These are turnips, and when you cut them up, you want to cut them up just like you were going to make scalloped potatoes. So if this was a potato, you cut it like if you were going to make scalloped potatoes. And you just put them in when you get ready to put in your greens. So I'm going to sit this over to the side because it's not time to put that in. I'm going to allow this meat to go ahead and boil up. And once it boils up, then I'm going to use the juices from the meat in order to flavor the greens. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my ham seasonings, and I showed you that. The ham broth. Here is my pepper and my garlic. I'm going to go ahead. Now remember, you don't have to do this. You can get away with just the smoked meat and you shouldn't have to do this. But if you want that little extra added kick to it, then go ahead and do what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these onions just to give it more and more flavor. Now, I gave a lot of instructions in the beginning, and a lot of times people don't want to hear me talk that much. They feel like, just come on and just make the recipe up and let us follow the recipe. But I have a lot of beginner cooks, and the reason why I actually started this channel was to help people that didn't really have a clue. So if I'm doing something that you don't want to see, you can kindly and gratefully go ahead and leave the channel and go someplace else, because I'm going to do instructions if instructions is needed. I don't want to just come on here and do something and you don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. So if you try to explain it to your children or to somebody that you're trying to teach how to cook, they wouldn't know what to do because you don't know what to do. So if you don't want these long instructions, then just go on to another channel. Anyway, this is already, I have this and I've explained everything about these greens, and I'm going to go ahead and cover this up. When I get ready to start my pot with my greens in it, I'll bring you back. But I'm going to let this cook for a while because, like I told you, I want to debone all of my meat. I'll be back. Okay, I just want you to see the juices. This is the juices from the smoked meat. I'm getting ready to take the smoked meat, debone it. So I wanted to take the juice that I have here, and I want to pour it into my greens and my my turnip bottoms. And you see how it's beginning to wilt? That's what it's going to do. I have a lot of more greens to put in there. So I just want to show you that step. And I'll bring you back when they start to cooking up. I'll bring you back when I get ready to put in the smoked meats. I'll bring you back. But I got a lot more greens to add to this pot. And they are going to wilt down. So be right back. Now I'm back and my greens are still cooking up real good, but I wanted to come bring it back. I haven't put the vinegar in there yet, which I'm going to do now. I'm gonna put a little bit of sugar in, and if you have some used cooking oil, like a used bacon grease or used grease that you fried chicken in, you want to go ahead at this point and you want to put some over in your pot. So I have mine in my kettle right here. I'm gonna put some in my pot. I'm gonna stir it just a little bit, and you see my turnips. My turnip bottoms are cooking real good. I deboned all of my meat. So all of my meat is in there. And looks like about 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. And that's because I'm cooking 4, and you don't have to put that in, but I'm cooking 4 bags of greens. So even though you see this big pot really boiled down, I got a lot of greens in here. I got a lot. And I had to take out some of my water, and it's at this point that I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This is optional, but it makes your greens taste so good. That's about 3 tablespoons full. And these greens look good, and I've taken you from start to finish because, like I said, I have a lot of beginner cooks. So I wanted to make certain that I told them every step of the way. This is some of the liquids that I took out of the pot because there was too much water in there. So you don't want to add fresh water because this is seasoned liquids. So I want to add just a little bit more back in there so that my greens can continue to cook. So that's about it. I'm going to put this top back on it, let it continue to cook, and I'll bring you back when they're done. Be right back. Okay, now the greens are done, and I'm still letting them boil just a little bit. My dinner's not, so I'm going to dish up a bowl of them, and I'll post it at the end of the video. Okay, Stephanie and John. I didn't want to mess up your last name, Stephanie, so I didn't even try because I would butcher it to death. But I could tell from the way that you asked the questions that you really needed help with the greens. And I hope that this video has been beneficial, and I hope that you've learned something from it. So try these greens. I think you're going to love them. I've already tasted it. And as always, thank you for watching. Chris Cook for you too. Don't forget to check out my site, justincooking.com. Bye.